Alright, a little update on the C-10 again. I've tried to make a video a couple times and it's just haven't been able to finish one, so we'll try again. We've got the engine transmission in. This is just a dummy transmission, just a case to try to line everything up. The other transmission's off getting built, and I don't know when it'll be done, and I don't care because you know, when I drop something off to somebody, I'm not going to pester them until it's done. So, unlike some other people when you have their stuff. So, you know, when he calls me and tells me it's done, I'll go pick it up. But until then, you know, I'm going to continue working on it and do what I can. I got the harness on. I took the drive-by-wire connection off and then traced the wires back to the ECU and repinned them for drive-by cable. Got our TPS in and got our IAC in, throttle body on, and actually found a little bracket so I can work off of to attach it to here and here to have my cable bracket. Made a little extension harness for the map sensor. The way the guy made the harness, I don't know if he had an engine available to lay out the harness on because nothing really fit that great. The coolant temp sensor ended up being back there on this side. I mean, I could have extended the wires and put it up here like it should be, but anyway, I guess maybe it's a little cleaner. He didn't have the wire in the harness for the alternator, and that was something else. But anyway, like I say, this part was nice, you know, assuming it works, where this is constant power. The white one there is keyed power, and then this is a trigger for the fuel pump. And then I got my cables run, positive cable, and the way the wiring harness laid out, I had it laid up here, which, you know, wouldn't be very appealing. So I'm gonna try to put it down here underneath the battery box and run my wires from there. I got my grounds on. The starter I used was off of a Caprice, 2012 Caprice. So instead of having a terminal stud with a nut and using an eyelet, you know, like every other GM starter, it had a round plug with a single spade in it, and the parts store didn't have one. I couldn't find one, and you know, I didn't want to buy a whole nother starter. You know, they're $150, $200 for a starter just because I couldn't find a connection. So coincidentally enough, I found a connector. It's actually on the trailer harness of a Silverado. So I don't know, it was the same plug style and plugged right into the starter. So hopefully that works. This was a radiator that was in the truck. So as you can see, this bolts here, but you can also move it to these holes and run a wider radiator. So I don't know if this one's gonna work, but it's what I got, and I'm at least gonna give it a try. The top hose seems to fit off of a regular Silverado truck. Now this is a L92 or something water pump, you know, because it has the outlet. Is that the inlet of the water pump at an angle there versus the truck that comes up and has the angle. So, but anyway, it kind of fits. A little bit of lube on there, and it went on there on the top. This was off of a 2500 HD, so it has the fittings down here on the pump for the Hydro Boost. So I'll need to take this off and lay out everything for the Hydro Boost, and then get my steering box. So I haven't put a plumb bob on it yet. I'll probably wait till I have the transmission I'm going to run in it, because I mean, as it is right now, that header tube is very close to clearing. So I'm hoping that once everything's lined up, it won't be touching. Got the dipstick in, it's full of oil. What else? The drive shaft, I don't know if I've talked about that yet. It was 57 inches at with the suspension, sitting on the suspension from the yoke to the tail housing, and my buddy has a drive shaft that he thinks will work. I backed into the measurements, and from center line of U-joint to center line of U-joint was around 54, and I think he had one or 53 or something. So he's supposed to bring it over, and I'll give it a shot and see if it fits. This header right here is absolute garbage. It does not fit very well. Not happy with it at all. You know, it would be one thing if there wasn't any more room to build it, and that's what they had to do. But they could have turned down right after this motor mount right here, and there's plenty of room under there. That back plug is almost impossible to get to. And I had the transmission out because when I put it together, I didn't have the flex plate on, and I wanted to try to start it. So I pulled the case back out, and just getting to that back plug was a nightmare without the transmission on. So with the heater box and everything in the way, I don't know how you'll get to it. But I mean, you know, it's a set of 1 7/8 Schoenfeld headers. But yeah, they do not. I'm not happy with them. I mean, $400. I mean, they should fit the chassis better than that, in my opinion. But anyway, that's typically why I build my own stuff, is because of stuff like this. But when you don't have time, you know, to build them and everything, then it is easier to purchase a set if they fit. But and then while we're on this header, so underneath where it points out, that cross member that I got, the hump is right in the way of the header. The header's pointing directly at it, so I'm gonna have to cut it and put I saw it at Summit yesterday. They have like a drive shaft loop that's just like a 180 U-shaped. So I think what I'm gonna do is, once I get everything centered and at the right height, I'm gonna cut that and weld it in so I can go straight out of the header, you know, not have to do a bunch of bends to get around that. Because I mean, there's plenty of room. I don't know why they didn't put a big enough hump in it. But so the last thing is the fuel system. So this is a Trailblazer fuel line off that other one. So I've got a fuel cell back here, and the only problem I have with it is the height from, you know, so if I put it right here, then I'll have to have a hole and then have the fill neck inside the bed. And I just don't know how I feel about that. I don't want the tank in the truck, but it does have a brand new in-cab tank. But this, I mean, the fill neck situation, I mean, I don't know. I guess I could come under and then come in the side. Well, no, I don't know. Or maybe come into the fender and have the cap. I don't know where I'd put the cap. And then with the long trailing arms, I mean, it'd be nice if you could put it somewhere up here, but then with the step side, there's not room between the frame and the cab, so I hadn't figured that out yet. I might just, I do want to go back with a wood bed, so I might just take this diamond plate out and then hang this fuel cell in it, and then, I don't know. I mean, I don't really want to do that, because then it messes with the functionality of the bed, but, you know, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it. I don't know. I just, that's where I'm at. I want to, if it had fuel pressure, it should crank up, but I don't. Again, I'm kind of stumped on the fuel tank situation, but again, I haven't really spent much time thinking about it or whatever, because I've been working on everything else. But I got the quadra ready to go to the dyno. Changed the valve springs on it. Did a couple things. I was supposed to go today, but I haven't heard from him, and I don't want to mess with him on a holiday, you know, because again, I know how it is. You know, it's different once you do this stuff yourself, you know, once it's your business, you know, I mean, you got a lot going on, and I don't like to bother people when they have my stuff because, you know, I want them to take their time and do a good job. So, I mean, if he's busy, I mean, it's a holiday, I mean, that's fine. I'll just catch up with him another day. And, I mean, the truck runs and drives, is doing well. I tuned the cruise with narrow bands, and it seems to be pretty good. It's gone a little over 150 miles, and it just now to a half a tank. So, you know, that's not bad for a 6.0 crew cab, but I'm hoping that with the lean cruise and all the other stuff, you know, maybe we can get it a little better. But so I've got the engine from the Trailblazer loaded up. I got his cylinder heads, and I've got another aluminum 6.0 block that came out of another Caprice PPV I had. It needs a sleeve or two, so he's gonna see if he can save that block for me, and then we'll be back on this. So we got our transmission here. I don't know if I've shown that or not. This is from Doug, and really excited about trying this thing out. So it's supposed to hold 750 horsepower, I think, but I mean, I don't think this LSA on this thing is gonna make, you know, that much power. But we'll see. I'm gonna clean up the wiring and tidy everything up best I can while I'm waiting on everything. So, but anyway, just want to do an update. Like I say, I'm trying to do a video on this thing like 3 times and keep getting interrupted, and just haven't been able to finish one and get it posted. So it's ready to fire up. Like I say, if I had fuel pressure, you know, I want to make sure this harness and everything works. And I haven't even looked at the file and the computer there. I think if it's the one I'm thinking of, it's already a 6.0. I guess the only difference will be these injectors. I'll have to update the injector data and that ECU before I fire it off. But I'll figure out the fuel system and hopefully get it running, and then get my transmission back. Hopefully that drive shaft works, and then get an exhaust under it. And then, you know, have the truck drivable again. And then once it's drivable, I don't know if I went through all this, if I lost it on one of the videos I was going to do on it. But so this rear end's a 12 bolt, and the one that my buddy brought was a 10 bolt. And from what I've read and all, they're not interchangeable, because I think the spline's different, which I mean would make sense. So I mean, I didn't even want to try it, to be honest. So we rolled the tires over, and I think it's about a 373, which is about what I want, or whatever 12 bolt is, 370 or 373, I don't know. Then the wheels, I think it was like a 5-on-5 bolt pattern or something, and I have nothing for that bolt pattern. So I mean, not that that's a big deal, but you know, when you're trying to build it out of what you got, you know, you kind of want to use what you have and get there. But I've got wheels. The 70 truck came with a set of 5-spoke 5-on-4.5 wheels, and he's got an 8.8 150 rear in it with a 373 and a locker. So this is dog-legged. So I can put that 8.8 in here, and then it'll be small forward bolt pattern. He's got a 17 by 10.5 5-spoke wheel. And then for the front, I've got a 62 C-10 that I haven't done a video of. It's at my dad's shop. But it was a 6-lug drum truck as well. And POL makes a kit. And you take all the drum brake stuff off, and it has a bracket that bolts on there, and you use like a Chevelle caliper, a Camaro rotor, and like just a hodgepodge of parts, and it gets it to 5-on-475 bolt pattern with GM 7/16 lug nuts. So what I did on my 62 is I made a template with both bolt patterns, laid it out, center punched it, drilled it, and put Ford studs in it and made it the small Ford bolt pattern. So then that way I could use the nice brand new 5-spoke wheels I already have, get this to disc brake, and then use his rear end, and it already has a locker in it. So, and then sell this 12 bolt for whatever I can get out of it, and then have the 5-spoke wheels, Ford bolt pattern, all that stuff. So I think that's what I'm going to do. But like I say, I want to get it running and driving first, and then once it's a driver, work on that. So, but I think it's coming together pretty good. I'm kind of excited to be at this point, and just want to see how this engine runs and everything. Like I say, it's not. If I had to buy a camshaft, this would not be the one I would buy. But again, I don't want to go out and spend another $400 for another camshaft. It just doesn't make sense when I already have these parts. It's already got 243 heads, a Trailblazer intake. I mean, it should be a good, strong running 6-liter regardless. But if I were to do this fresh, I would have done flat tops, true flat tops, and a better camshaft than this. But again, that's what I had, and like I say, I think it'll do well on this. I think it'll run well enough for this truck. I don't know how much these trucks weigh. I think I read something where they're around 3,800 pounds. So, I mean, it's not, a 4,500 pound truck, but it's not, a 3,000 pound car either. So, but anyway, like I say, hopefully get transmission back this week, and then maybe make it move under its own power, and then we'll go from there. But that's the update for now.